say things like, people use language to soften things. They go, well, I'm big boned. No, you're frickin' fat. I mean, come on. Big boned, you have no disappointment, pain to do anything about it, right? I mean, this weekend, one of the things we want to do is be honest. And there's not anybody in this room, including me, doesn't have areas of their life that can be made better. But if we can figure out what they are and tell ourselves the truth, regardless of what other people think, then we got a chance to make a change. I learned something from General Schwarzkopf, one of the best leaders I've ever met. And I got a chance to spend quite a bit of time with him over the years. And he said to me, Tony, I'll tell you the secret to leadership. He said, the whole secret to your life for any group, any individual, is no individual, no organization can get better till they can admit something's wrong. And so you know what the problem is? No one wants things to be wrong, so we compare ourselves to others who are doing better than so we can feel really good. He told me about a particular group he took over early in his career, and they had I forgot the exact number, a 96% ratio of success. The equipment they were making was working 95, 96% of the time. It was one of the highest in the entire United States Army. So when he took over, everybody was telling him these statistics, and he went into rage. And they said, what's the matter with you? He said, do you realize, and he figured out the exact numbers. That means X number of men die because this doesn't fire at the right moment. It means this occurs. And he showed all of the impact of this. See, he raised the standard. He went to step 2. Step 2 is you got to see it better than it is and set that as your standard. A standard is something you don't go for. It's not a goal. It's something you live, breathe, and find a way to get to no matter what. If there isn't a way, a leader makes the way. And every one of us in our lives have done this at times. I know you have. There are things in your life, if you were being fair to yourself, that seem difficult or impossible at times, with your kids, with your career, with your business, with your body. And there have been moments in every human being's life where you really tapped into a different level of focus or commitment or standard. And you found a way. It wasn't a should for you, it was a must, and you made it happen. Just want to make my point so you'd hear it. Is there a difference between should and must for you, yes or no? You better believe there is. So when that standard is a must for you, you're going to find the way. So if you see it as it is, but not worse than it is, if you see it better than it is and you bring a vision, in the Bible it says without a vision, people perish. Regardless of your religion, there's a truth in that statement. And finally, the third key here is once you see it better than it is, make it that way. You got to take massive action. You got to be resourceful. You got to find the way to make it you want it. So this weekend, first thing we're going to do after a while is you're going to get real clear about how is it really? How is your relationship really? How is your body really? How is your career really? How are your finances really? How are you really spiritually? Regardless of religion, I'm not here to preach to you. My belief is whatever you believe in religiously, you got to practice it or you won't be happy. You got to honor what you believe is most important, what you believe is most important. But where is it really? Not what you've been telling yourself so you can feel okay. And by the way, you're probably doing better than most people around because the people who need this kind of show, need this kind of a program, need this kind of an event, need this kind of exercise rarely show up for it. Isn't it true? So I know and I honor who you already are, but you wouldn't have come here unless all of us in this room, as different as we are, and you can look around, you see every gender, race, probably religion, belief structure in this room. The one thing I bet we have in common is we won't settle. How many came because you want more? How many came because you want more? Say I. Oh, say I. So whatever that more is that you came for, more energy, more focus, more determination, more confidence, more certainty, more love, more success, more playfulness, more of your body being where it is, more of your spirit alive, whatever it is, I can tell you this, whatever you think you came for, that's not why you came. Because I've done this for 25 years. I'm not saying you won't get that too. But what brought you here and what you're going to leave with is going to be more than what you thought. I can promise you. This has got a money-back guarantee. You can come up here and say, you're full of it, it didn't work. But I've done this for a quarter of a century, and it's not because I'm so great. It's because there's certain patterns that just work. And what you're going to find out is what we need most, we're usually not aware of to start with. So be aware of that, and maybe live this weekend with the mindset, or the next few days with the mindset of this program, that at any moment I could learn something I wasn't expecting that could open everything up in ways I never even hoped for. And if you live in that expectation, I think you're going to find that it's really there. So if we're going to make this work, we got to get active in our nervous system and our bodies. So think of it this way. You learn the best when you're a kid. Why? Kids are alive. How do you know how old someone is? Well, their age is not so much chronology as it is psychology. I mean, how many of you know somebody that's very young but is really old in the way they live their life? Say, I. How many know somebody very old chronologically but they're young? You love to be around them. Say, I. What's the difference? Energy. Isn't it right? And energy is expressed through movement in the human body. Think about it. When you're a kid, you got this energy. You ever seen a kid do this? They just walk in the room, they're walking across the living room, and all of a sudden they go, "Ooh!" For no reason. How many have seen this? Come on. Right? And they don't make any excuses. They don't explain anything. They're just alive. As adults, you go, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" You can't go, "Ooh." Right? But I'm asking you to play like that this weekend. I'm asking you to experience it because I'm asking you to go to a place where you're going to learn and absorb everything. To do that, you got to have energy. I got a friend, for example. He's going to be 73 this year. Bench presses now over 450 pounds. Didn't even start lifting weights till he was 60. One of the most playful, outrageous, fun people you're ever going to meet. He doesn't care what everybody thinks. By the way, it's part of the secret to an effective leader is you don't care what everybody thinks. Now, everybody cares at some level, but you don't let it stop you. You just go for it. You experiment. If it doesn't work and it looks stupid, you go, "Who cares? I'll do the next thing." I'm not defined by the moment. I'm defined by who I am and what I'm here to give. It's a very different mindset. So the bottom line is, these kids will do that. What you want to do is do this for yourself. So here's the mindset. I'm going to ask you to be a kid. And here's my metaphor for being a kid. I've met 17-year-old kids that are the oldest humans I know. They're so tight, can't do this, can't do this, not cool, no, can't do nothing. Get rid of your rules. I'm asking you this weekend to try anything, to take a bite, and then afterwards decide if you like it or not. If you don't, spit it out. How many want to go for it and try almost anything this weekend within reason as long as it's there? Say ah! Then the mentality and attitude is this metaphor. I say to myself, I'm 44 years old. I'm still a kid. The reason I know it, here's my metaphor. If I'm walking along and there's a big puddle, there's been a storm, and there's a puddle in my path, if you're mentally an old person, regardless of your age, and you're walking along and there's a big puddle in your path, what do you do? What do you do? No, you don't just walk around it. You walk around the puddle and you bitch about that puddle while you walk around it. Isn't it true? What do you do if you're a little kid and you see that puddle? What do you do? You're like, wham, right? How many want to be a kid just for the next few days? You can always go back to being an old fart later if you choose to, and boring. Whatever people say they want, no matter how altruistic it sounds or how selfish it sounds, the real reason you came here, the real reason to do anything is simply to change how you feel. To either take a great feeling you have to a higher level of intensity or to get rid of a negative feeling. That seems so absurd, but if someone says, "Well, I came here because I want to help create peace on earth. I want to help the whole planet be at peace," and I'll say, "Great, what does that give you?" "Well, I'd be glad I did it," but what would it give you? They go, "Well, I'd feel like I did something important." And if you felt that way, what would that feel? They say, "Well, I'd feel worthwhile." What they're after is a feeling. Or this woman said, "I feel happy." This person said, "I want $10 billion. Great, you want 10 billion pieces of paper with pictures of deceased notables on it, is that right? You said, "No, what do you want?" You want what money will give you, right? So what will money give you? Someone says freedom, somebody else. Love, money will get you love, that's interesting. I think that was sex, not love. Choices, security. Now, by the way, have you known anybody who's had a lot of money who didn't feel free, who didn't feel loved, who didn't feel like they had lots of choice? Or do you know anybody like that? Think about it. Remember John Belushi? How many remember loved John Belushi when he was around? Loved him, right? I mean, think about it. This guy, he had these great goals. He had these goals. The goals were he wanted to absolutely be a total star and make the whole world laugh. He wanted to be a television star, which he did. Then he said, "I want to be a movie star," which he did. Then he said, "I want to make music that's outrageous," which he did. He said, "I want millions of people to love me," which he did. "I want to make more money than I could spend," which he did. "I want a great wife," which he did. He experienced. But he killed himself. By the way, was he successful? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. No! Killing yourself is called failure. It's like, in my book anyway, right? Now, don't get me wrong. He's a beautiful man, but here's the problem. He made everybody else feel good except whom? Because in the end, if you talk to people who knew him, he didn't feel like he was growing. He didn't feel alive. He didn't feel like he was contributing. He was doing the same stuff. He wasn't progressing. You want to know what makes us happy? Progress. That's it. I don't care what you've achieved. If you don't feel like you're still growing, if you don't feel like you're still contributing, if you don't feel like there's some progress in your body or your mind or your relationship or your business, if you don't feel like there's progress, you're going to be unhappy. I don't care how big your life is compared to other people. Progress is the game, my friends. It's being alive. And if we're going to be alive, absolutely. If we're gonna be alive, we gotta take control of our emotions, because these emotions we all think we're gonna get from achieving more, from helping everyone else, from raising 3.2 perfect children, from going into samadhi and total spiritual connection to earth. Whatever your game plan is, it's ultimately to get to a certain feeling. And the truth is, you can have it right now. God gave us the most incredible resources on earth. They're right here in your body, mind, and spirit. They're the energy you wake up with, but most of us have never been taught how to master it. This next few days is the beginning of that path, and we want to take it to a whole nother level. And let's start now.